When I was a teenager, I worked on stage with my father. We had a song and a dance act. The Second World War was underway, and I lived in Sharon and went to high school there. And my dad and I and a minstrel show, we traveled around the area, in the Pittsburgh area too, and it was great working the stage. I also had a dance act with a female young girl, and we did exhibition ballroom with a tuxedo. I weighed 105 pounds, and she weighed 112 pounds, and yet I lifted her over my head and did all the moves. And then we came back and we did jitterbugging, 5 different styles, an Ohio style, the movie style, the Sharon style. And out of that, I thought, well, maybe I'll get on the stage. I had an offer backstage once from a man that showed me a card in burlesque. Now, television wasn't around, you have to remember, in the 40s, and I was still in high school. And he says, hey, kid, I saw you on stage, and I like the way you move. He said, how would you like to work in burlesque? I wanted to leave school. I wanted it real badly. And my dad threw him out of the dressing room. We had a 40-man male choir, and my dad and I were featured premier endmen. But then I also was playing sports and doing a lot of things. I eventually got a scholarship, an athletic scholarship to school. And while at the radio station one day, a local radio station in Indiana, Pennsylvania, I went in with the class and I raised my hand to ask a question. And there were about 40 of us. And the general manager said, who said that? I raised my hand. And he said, I'd like to see you and Dr. Boardman in my office. And he offered me, he said, where did you work in radio? I said, I was a teenager. I said, I didn't work in radio. We did a play every week on a local radio station, a drama. I said, but I didn't work. And he says, well, you have a good voice. How would you like to have your own show? Within 2 weeks, I had Cardille's Campus Capers, and I was on every night from 11:15 till after midnight. And on Saturdays, I did a 4-hour show. And I got my radio training there. I was appearing in a nightclub. I was told that I could do some entertaining and also tending bar, mostly tending bars, I found out, and I wasn't 21 then. And my program director in radio told me to read everything out loud. So I read everything out loud, and one night, at the end of May, 2 fellows came in, and the fellow says, I can tell you're an announcer. I said, how did you know? And I was reading everything out loud, and it was a slow night. And he said, well, listen, I work at a TV station. At that time, there were less than 50 in the United States. So he said, come up to Erie Saturday at 1 o'clock, and I'll audition you. So he was drinking grasshoppers. I'll never forget it. Green grasshopper. He drank free the rest of the night. So I asked my sister to come up, pick me up at Conneaut Lake, take me to Erie, and she did. We got there, and I believe in fate very deeply. It was the first station built to be a television station in America, and it was dedicated by Bob Hope, and it was WICU TV in Erie. And then, as I said to the receptionist, with my sister beside me, I'm here to meet Sam Glockenspiel. He's the program director, and I have an appointment with him. At that time, everybody from World War II had crew cuts. This fellow with a crew cut walked by. He heard me say program director, turned around, came out into the lobby, and said, did you say program director? I said, yes. He said, what are you supposed to do? I said, audition. And he says, well, you've been had, kid. About 10 years older. And he said, but as long as you're here, tell me about yourself. So I told him that I didn't lie or anything. He said, take the next station break. Come with me. So I go up and I do the station break. And it was a Cleveland Indian baseball game. And I remember the comment, the script is that I passed the announcer, who was also an older man. He said, incomparable. A lot of people say incomparable, but he said incomparable. So I go in and I open up the mic when the red light came on, and I said, check out Gus Crack and Company, 18th and State, for the incomparable Magnavox. So I close the mic, I walk out in the control room, the phone rings. It's the general manager. Who was that? The movie time. He said, told him, he said, bring him down. I want to talk to him. So, but the program, take the next break. I did the next break, went down, met the general manager. He said, give me your background. I did. He said, well, he said, can you type? I said, no, but I can learn. And he said, well, we need somebody 20 hours to type commercials and 20 hours announcing and directing. So I said, I'll take it in college. And then I got a call Christmas time. I started there January 20th. I worked 4 years there. Then when the government lifted the freeze on TV stations, I was offered quite a few jobs because by then I had 4 years experience. I did everything but sell. I wrote, produced, directed. I came to Pittsburgh and worked at NBC. I did 5 decades there. I also do radio. I've done almost 2 decades on radio with the approval of Channel 11 because I was under contract to them. And here I sit 41 years after making Night of the Living Dead and speaking all kinds of languages. I got mail from all over the world. And I did a show called Chiller Theater for close to 20 years, live every Saturday night. I did the weather at 11:20. I did wrestling at 6 p.m. every Saturday night. And then I changed into a tuxedo and I did Chiller Theater. And I wrote, produced, and directed the show. And out of that came several albums, 45s, nightclub appearances. And it really changed my life. Out of it came Night of the Living Dead with the great cast of George Romero leading the way and Russ Streiner.